Hello, I'd like to talk today about listening. That seems quite an innocuous subject, but it's one of those things that people will generally say, "Oh, I'm a good listener," and I say, "Are you?" Because I don't know that many people that are good at listening. So I think we listen with the intent to respond, but rarely do we listen with the intent to actually understand what somebody's saying, and that plays out in just about every area of our professional and personal life. And I work a lot, and I know a lot of my contacts are in the hospitality industry. So if you were to train your team up, for example, in customer services and knowing the menu and say product knowledge, but if they, when the customers came in, if they didn't actually really listen to the customers, then all the training in the world is really not going to help. So an example of that is, and it happens quite frequently really, if you go in and I order water and I said but no ice, and somebody will start filling the glass up with ice when I've just said no ice because they're not listening. But I know that's a kind of a default, that's what they do as soon as somebody asks for a drink, is go for the ice. But if you change that into a scenario, office-based scenario, and it's really what I want to talk to today is those people who manage teams. So I'm looking at your leaders, your managers, your directors, your leadership team. And somebody says to you, "Can I just have a few minutes of your time? There's something I'd just like to talk through." That's a real opportunity to learn something. Now, everybody's got so much going on, lots and lots, and we can't cram everything into the day. So when somebody asks us to take time out to listen, do we? Can you take off your mind what you've got to do in 5 minutes? And because that's the only way that you can listen, if you actually give that person the gift of your time. Now, what happens if you don't do that? That person will know you're actually not really listening to them, because they'll be able to see, they'll be able to sense it. We all can. So you've spent that time, but you've wasted that time because you still didn't listen. So the interaction didn't have the result. It might have actually had a negative result. Now, a lot of the time when somebody asks us to listen, we, and it's typical with personal relationships, we might actually think that person wants us to solve something or to help with something. A lot of the time somebody just wants us to listen, to be heard. It's a real gift when somebody just gives you their time. A lot of the time people come to me and I'm paid to listen, I'm trained to listen, and it's a beautiful thing when somebody knows you can connect with somebody and you can really understand what they're saying. So if you put that in a work context, one of your team comes to you, if you really do listen, you might hear something that you will see an answer to. But the chances are, if you've got a busy mind, one, you're not really going to listen, and two, you won't have the space for that wisdom to come through. So if you can, when you have those moments where somebody asks you for your time, if you can actually give them your time, just 2-3 minutes, and see what sort of value you can get from that, because I think you'll be surprised. Anyway, thank you for your time, and I look forward to speaking again.